Okay, Karen Miller here, and I wanted to show you guys how to do the callaloo soup. Some of you requested the callaloo soup when I did the callaloo stew with the amaranth leaves. So I cut up some amaranth here. I cleaned it and removed all of the debris, and I have it here in a bowl. This is about 3 pounds. So I chopped it up. I'm going to put this here, and I want to show you the rest of the ingredients. I'm going to try to do this quickly. So most importantly, I have some onions here. I usually use red onions, but I couldn't find any organic, and these look good. They were organic yellow onions. This is a medium-sized onion. I know people say that I don't give recipe and I don't give not ingredients, but measurements. This is not how I learned to cook. I learned to cook from watching. I'm also going to put 2 scallions, okay? And I'm going to put, this is what a habanero pepper really looks like. I'm going to put 1 of those. You know how I feel about habanero. I'm going to put half of this yellow pepper for a little more flavor. I prefer the red peppers. They have more flavor, but this is all I had. And this is about a cup of okra. This is all I had on hand. You can use more or less if you want. This is what I had, and this is what I'm going to put in. And then I have the culantro. This is culantro, or the Trinidadians call it shadow benny. It's exactly like the cilantro that we know. It has the exact same flavor and smell, but it has a wider leaf. This is what the culantro is. So I'm going to put this much. I want a lot of it in there in my soup for flavor. And last but not least, I hope, some coconut milk. Okay, this is my favorite coconut milk, the Thai coconut milk. So these are the ingredients. And then I'm going to do some dumplings with the kamut. This is a kamut grain. I never could find the kamut flour, so I buy the grain and I process it and make my own flour. So now let's go to the stove and dump all of this in there. Okay guys, we're gonna start dumping everything in here. I'm gonna put some oil. This is about 3 tablespoons of oil. And I have my habanero here. I have my yellow bell pepper, my onions, and the scallions. This is a medium-high heat. I'm going to add some coarse salt to this. I like coarse sea salt. This is coarse sea salt that I like a lot. Okay. So we're going to let this saute for a little bit, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to add a pinch of red pepper flakes. And this is all of the culantro. All of the culantro that I showed you. And the okra. I'm just basically dumping everything in. This is quick, quick, quick. And now I'm going to put in my chopped amaranth leaves or callaloo leaves that I chopped up. This is all going to boil down. So I'm going to come back and we're going to add water to this when I'm done. Okay, so I'm going to add, I have a little less than half a gallon of water here. I could eyeball it. And once we cook this for about 45 minutes and this is softened up a little bit and cooked down, you know, I'm going to look at it and see if I need to add more water. And then after we do the immersion blender thing, we'll see how it looks. And then we add more water or we don't. We'll see. But right now I put about a half a gallon of water there. You see, you can see the water. It's quite a bit of water for this is about 3 pounds of callaloo. And the last thing I'm going to do is this is about a 13-ounce can of coconut milk. So this is half of the can of coconut milk. I think it's 13 or 14-ounce can. This is actually very creamy, like coconut cream. So I have aromatics bottom and top. This is the top. So the onions and stuff is going to infuse this here while it's cooking and give it some flavor, and I have my coconut cream on the top. So I'm going to cover this and let this simmer for 45 minutes and then we'll come back. So guys, before we move on to the part with our callaloo soup, I just wanted us to do the dumplings. So I have a 1/4 cup of white spelt in this bowl here. And I wanted to mix the white spelt with the kamut just to give it a little bit of cohesiveness. And this here is a cup of the kamut grains that I processed. So when I measured it, this is a little more than a cup and a half. So you know, when you process it, it makes a little bit more than a cup. But I put a cup of grains to make this amount. A little more than a cup in my NutriBullet. And I'm going to now add 2 teaspoons of salt. This is a fine sea salt, because we cannot put coarse sea salt in here. So I have 2 teaspoons of salt, and now we're gonna mix this in. This is all you need for your dumplings. Just flour, salt, and water. That's it. And now let me I'm going to put 3/4 cups of water here. Put the rest of this here. Because you know, we in the Caribbean, we like our dumplings. We don't make soft dumplings. I know, you know, there are different kinds of dumplings. We like our dumplings a bit stiff. So you could make your dumplings any way you like. I should be doing this with my fingers, but because I want to get a feel for it. So you work this in. This kamut reminds me so much of corn and cornmeal. So yeah, I'm not going to add any more water. I'm also thinking maybe I should add a little bit more of the white flour, but I'm not going to do this. But this is how because it's getting stiffer and stiffer, because the kamut has this quality. The more you squeeze it, the stiffer it becomes. I'm liking this. So I would say about a 3/4 cup of water to 1/4 cup, and a cup of a little more than a cup of the grains that you see, it doesn't matter. When you're making dumplings, you could just put whatever amount you want and you just get a feel for it. Now this is feeling the way that I like it, the way that I want it to be. So I'm just going to let this rest for a little bit, and then I'm going to show you how I put this into my soup. Okay folks, this has been cooking now for 45 minutes. I'm going to remove the habanero. before I do the immersion blender thing. And this is smelling really, really good. So, you know, you do this, or if you don't have one of those immersion blenders, you could put this, let this cool for a little bit, because you shouldn't put this hot liquid in a regular blender. This is so much better and it's more convenient. You do it straight here in the pot. So this is really a good thing to have. But if you don't have one of those, you put it in a regular blender, you let this cool for a while, and then you do it. So I'm going to do this, and then when this is done, I'm going to get back to you. Okay folks, here is the blended soup, and I didn't have to add any more water. I like the consistency of this. This is really soupy, and the color is beautiful. So we're gonna add our dumplings now, but before we do that, you know how I cook. You know, I had this inspiration, you know, spirit is working. So bear with me here. This is how I cook. So I had the idea to put some wakame in this. Do you remember the wakame? The fish, not fish, sea vegetables. So this is what it looks like when you put it in water for a few minutes. It expands. I had the idea to put this in the callaloo. Of course, this is optional, but it's just something else. And it's, you know, it's fishy. And you know, in the Caribbean, we do a lot of crab and callaloo. And I used to love crab and callaloo. I used to love crab and callaloo so much. So it's a little bit of contrast here, because this is the wakame is just a little bit darker. So now let's add our dumpling. But I also wanted to add some for a little bit more flavor. I wanted to add some marinara sauce. You know, I always have my marinara sauce on hand. So I'm going to add about a half a cup. I'm going to add a half a cup of marinara sauce for some extra flavor. All right, let's mix this in, because you know, I did not add any tomatoes in this. I did not have any fresh tomatoes, because normally I would do that, but since I didn't add any fresh tomatoes, I'm adding the marinara sauce now, because this has to simmer again with the dumplings for about another 15 minutes. The dumplings are not going to take very long to cook. So when you add the dumplings, you let it simmer for about 15-20 minutes, or you know, longer if you like. So here I have my dumpling mixture that I made with the kamut and a little bit of white spelt. So all you do is you break this off. You just break a piece off like that. We like to do balls. You can do balls. So you squeeze it like that and you roll it like that. And this is stiff. Like I said, I like my dumplings a little bit stiff. So you roll it like that into a ball and you dump it in there. That's it. Or you can make like a long one like this. So you roll it like that between your hands. Like this. You roll it like that. You roll it like that and it looks like that, and this is your dumpling. So I like to do a few of those like that and a few round ones. So I'm gonna do another round one. You squeeze it like this and then you roll it into a ball like this. So when I'm done with that, and then I let this cook for another 15 minutes, we're gonna come back. So guys, you remember I was talking about crab and callaloo, and I just had this inspiration. These are our oyster mushrooms. You know, I did the crab cakes, etc. So what I wanted to do was fry those. So I have some batter here that I made with the garbanzo bean. Garbanzo bean flour, I really love it for frying because it has this quality to it. It's really crispy when you fry things with it. So this, if you want to know how to do this batter, you go to my onion rings video where I show you how to do this. These little things in here is some kelp granules that I put in this. It looks like black pepper. So you don't want to soak this in here. You just want to dip this in here quickly and you put it in there. So this oil here is hot. So I'm going to dip this in here quickly and let it drain a little bit. Drain off some of the batter. Drain it off a little bit. I don't want too much batter on this. And then I put it in here and you see it starts bubbling immediately. Because you want your oil hot. And I left these whole. I cut these in half so the stem here is attached. And I'm deep frying those. This is a single one here. So of course, you know, we in this community, this Serbian vegan community, we are using oyster mushrooms. I know some people use this as chicken, but I don't know about that, but you know. So I'm going to finish doing this and then I'll show you what it looks like. So here we are, folks. You know, you see this is bubbling, bubbling, bubbling. And these are our dumplings. You see it expanded, of course. So this is a texture I like. This has been simmering for about 15-20 minutes. You know, these are the round ones and these are the long ones. So you can make these softer, harder, smaller. You know, you can do whatever you want with these things, okay? Don't let anything stop you. You can do whatever you want in your kitchen when you're inspired. So I have a bowl here, so I'm going to plate this. I'm not gonna taste it. It's you guys see it's 6:30. It's not my dinner time yet. I could taste it, but I don't want to right now. One round one. And then here are our oyster mushrooms that I fried. So you can stick one in here like this, you know, on either side. And you have a wonderful dinner. So I hope you do this. I'm going to turn the stove off now. And good eating. And don't forget to like and subscribe. This looks so delicious. I cannot wait for it to cool and have some of this.